Who speaks? Good morning. And welcome to Survivors Speak Florida. Welcome. My name is Juan Pablo Chavez, and I am the Florida State Manager for Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. And we are joined for over 500 brave Floridians today. And I'm also honored to be joined by local members of Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice, Philida Smith, Elliot Sanders, and Alira Jarrett. And also I would like to thank Senator Shervin Jones for being with us today. Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice is a national network of over 180,000 crime survivors across the country, with a nearly 13,000 members in Florida alone. It's your work and passion that has made our victories in this state possible. Last year, the legislature passed Curtis Law, which ensured that families of homicide victims receive the basic information about their cases. We would like to shout out Patricia Ward, one of our incredible members who advocate day and night for this life-changing that was named on her son's honor. And also last year, we saw the passage of Bill SB 376, ensuring sealing of arrest records, as well our state first center base of the Trauma Recovery Center model in Miami. This work continues, and we will make sure our voices are heard. We are urging the legislature to pass SB 1290, HB 1039, which is increased access to sealing law record, misdemeanor records, so people who have served their time can re-enter the workforce and support the local economy. We are also advocating for SB 1154, SB 1241, which improves Floridians' prevention system so we can prioritize safety and make sure what happened to us never happened to somebody else. Last but not least, we are calling for funding to expand trauma recovery centers in Jacksonville, so we have more fundings and tools to help the people in our communities. Because we are called to help, are we? We are called to help. We are called to bring hope. We are called to speak for those that cannot speak anymore. We are called to break the silence. We are called to be the architects of healing in our communities. Let me tell you, you thought that you were probably suffering by yourself, but now you have a community. You have a chapter in Miami, in Naples, in Immokalee, in West Palm Beach, in Fort Pierce, in Orlando, in St. Petersburg, in Tampa, in Dane City, in Gainesville, in Palm Coast, in Jacksonville, in Tallahassee, in Quincy, in Pensacola. You have a community. Throughout the human history, we always have had leaders in our community. Leaders that have helped the most harm and least help. But today, you are the leader to help others. You are the leader because if someone knows about pain, it's you. If someone knows about healing, it's you. If no one knows how to help others, it's you. So let me tell you something. People will ask you, what were you doing in Tallahassee? Why you were in the bus for 8 hours? What are you going to tell them? Let me tell you, what are you going to tell them? Leave your sign, and tell the person next to you, I was advocating for trauma recovery centers. Tell the person next to you, I was advocating For trauma recovery centers. No. Tell the person next to you, you are advocating for trauma recovery centers. All together, we are advocating for trauma recovery centers. All together, we are advocating for trauma recovery centers. Estamos llamados a ser un signo de esperanza. Estamos llamados a ayudar a los más necesitados. Estamos llamados a comprender, porque si alguien conoce el dolor, somos nosotros. Si alguien sabe de cómo sanar, somos nosotros. Somos un signo de esperanza y estamos aquí para abogar por centros terapéuticos en nuestras comunidades. I would like to introduce one of our members, Felida Smith.
Good morning. My name is Felida Smith, and I am a member of Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. I am one of the chapter coordinators for Jacksonville. And in 2004, I was shot 13 times doing a homicide that left 2 others dead. Through all of the trauma, no one ever told me there were any services that could help survivors like me. I'm sure many of you have similar experiences, knowing that only if somebody had offered mental health services and other help, the road to recovery could have been different. That is why it's so important for us to be here today. We're using the power of our stories and voices to advocate for those in our community who need the extra bit of support. We want survivors like me in Jacksonville to be able to get the trauma recovery services they need to help them heal. We want people with low-level records to be able to give back to their communities and have jobs to support their families. We want people in the probation system to prioritize safety so that we can have better outcomes. We want safety for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Felida. And next, I would like to welcome the Florida Government Affairs Manager for the Alliance for Safety and Justice, Katie Bonnet.
Thank you so much, Juan Pablo. Most of us know him as JP. And everyone, please give him a round of applause. Our wonderful Florida State Manager for CSSJ, putting all this together with the help of many of our other awesome talent at ASJ and CSSJ. Again, my name is Katie Bonnet, and I'm the Government Affairs Manager for the Alliance for Safety and Justice, ASJ. I've had the honor of joining many of you as we've recounted your powerful stories to elected officials. You've helped move people to take action and get results. Your passion has led to critical reforms that build up the support survivors need to heal and focus on stopping cycles of crime in our communities. But we still have more work to do this session and beyond. To talk a little more about the road that remains ahead of us, we are joined here by one of our strongest champions, Senator Chevron Jones. Please give him a round of applause.
When survivors speak, when survivors speak, when survivors speak, that's what I'm talking about. Before I even get started, I want to first give a shout out to my colleague on the other chamber, and that's Representative Diane Hart, who's here from St. Petersburg, from Tampa, Florida. But I also, before I get into my message, there's some names of individuals who you all are standing here for. I want you to call out some of those names. When survivors speak, and that's why you all are here today. You all just heard the names of individuals of who you stand here for. Even if you are a victim here yourself, by the grace of God, you stand here today. Even in my office, as I just waited, and I was waiting for a meeting. I had some women from Miami-Dade County to come in, and before they can ask for anything, they said, Senator, can we just pray with you? That was the best start of my day. And the second best part of my day is having the opportunity to spend this opportunity with you all as I have been here for the last 4 years. And so I'm honored to be joined here with all of you from across the state of Florida, and JP just called out all the cities that's represented here. The first time I joined you here in the Rotunda, I literally was moved to tears because of who you all were standing here for. I see Tangela Sears, who was here from Miami-Dade County, and so many other mothers who are here. And I see the fight that all of you do, not just for one day, but you all do year-round. Let me tell you what your voices did. Last year, we had the opportunity to unanimously, and I was so happy to carry the bill, unanimously pass Curtis Law. You did that. So when survivors speak, so I don't want you to think that you are here wasting your time. Because last year while you were here, you made change happen because of your voice and because of how your steps were ordered. It continues to be a highlight of my career in public service to be able to join you all for such a powerful event every year. And you all who stand here know more than anyone that survivors need to heal from trauma. And what our communities need to stop the cycle of violence that impacts far too many lives. And that's why I know many of you who are here and why you stand here today. This goes so far beyond partisanship politics. Because if I can be honest with you, death has no political party. A bullet doesn't have red or blue next to it. And I think each and every last one of you can attest to that. Last session, all the bills you all advocated for passed the legislature with bipartisan support. This year, we have elected officials from both sides of the aisle standing with you all, calling for that same change once again here in Florida. We must ensure that every community that has been victimized by crime has access to trauma recovery services so more people have the tools needed to get their lives back on track after experiencing violence. When survivors speak, many of you have turned your trauma into a testimony. When survivors speak, many of you have turned your tears into triumph. When survivors speak, many of you have turned your anger into advocacy. When survivors speak, I pray that you all don't get weary in well-doing. And because what I believe, that change happens if you faint not. So let's urge, and I urge each and every last one of you to not get tired in what you're doing. I urge each and every last one of you that while you walk these halls, I ask that you walk with the very confidence and the healing confidence that you all have walked in for years since you've dealt with what you dealt with. And I want you to look those leaders, even myself, straight in our face and say that when survivor speaks, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. When a survivor speaks, when a survivor speaks, I don't hear you. When a survivor speaks, please help me to welcome another incredible member, Elliot Sanders.
Tampa. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. My name is Elliot G. Saunders Sr. I'm a survivor. It's been 18 years since my son, Isaiah Edward Brooks, was murdered. His murder remains unsolved to this day. My lovely wife, Darla, and I have decided to turn our pain into purpose. Yes. I'll say that again. Darla and I have decided to turn our pain into purpose. In the years since Isaiah's death, we've been fortunate enough to work with Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice to advocate for a vision of public safety, and that includes all of us. Our legislative agenda includes common sense bipartisan, and I'm going to say that again, bipartisan, common sense bipartisan solutions to strengthen our communities and ensure that Florida is safer for everyone. That includes SB 1290, HB 1039, which ensure that more people can seal low-level records when they have paid their debt to society. This will open up more pathways for people hoping to get back to work and support their families that have served their time. Additionally, Senate Bill 1154 and House Bill 1241 will improve how the probation system responds to low-level offenses so we can prioritize safety better and with better outcomes above all else. And by dedicating more funding for trauma recovery services in Jacksonville, we will provide the critical assistance that's needed for those victims recovering from violence. We have a long road ahead of us, and we will work to make our voices heard. But we are all here today because when survivors speak, thank you.
When a survivor speaks, I don't hear you. When a survivor speaks, we are between the Senate and the House, okay? So they need to hear us. When a survivor speaks, it is a pleasure to introduce now a CCJ member, Alida Jarrett.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. I'm Alita Jarrett, and I'm a proud member of Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. I am here today because I understand what it means to be a survivor. In 2003, my father and brother were both shot and murdered in the home I grew up in as they slept in their beds. The resulting trials and media attention made the recovery long and difficult for myself and my family. All these years, I'm still on a journey of forgiveness and peace. But you all know that the emotional wounds never fully heal. Fortunately for me, my healing journey was helped by the assistance I received through victims' compensation and the services I was able to access as a survivor. But not everyone can accept this help. Too many people in our communities don't know or can't receive the services they need to properly heal. Trauma recovery centers and other victim services can provide that comprehensive mental health and legal services that help to end cycles of victimization, putting people back on track to live their lives. Funding trauma recovery services in Jacksonville will help reach people who need it the most. And we can further strengthen our communities by implementing safety policies that emphasize healing. Whether it's fixing our probation system or expanding record sealing, these approaches focus on providing the tools for people to succeed once they paid their debt to society. When they succeed, our communities are safer and healthier. As a survivor, and I'm also a public health registered nurse, I have a lifelong passion to make our communities safer and healthier. I am here because I felt all of your pain, and I know everything we fight for today will help heal many of us. I am here because when survivors speak, change happens. Thank you.
Hello again, it's me, Katie Bonnet, and I'd like to introduce, hey there, I'd like to introduce Representative Bracy Davis, our sponsor for this year's record sealing bill in the House.
Thank you so much for each and every one of you all being here. You all look good. And Yeah, because you know what? This is what democracy looks like. Yeah. I'm so thankful for your energy on today. And thank you for joining us as I announce that, making an announcement that transcends the usual legislative discourse. An announcement that is about igniting hope, nurturing redemption, and affording every Floridian the chance to forge a fresh chapter in their lives. It is an honor to share this moment with each and every one of you, the senators and reps, and also Senator Tracy Davis, as we jointly unveil legislation aimed at reshaping the landscape of record sealing in our state. Yeah. This marks a bold stride toward widening access to sealing low-level misdemeanor records, empowering individuals to reclaim their lives and make meaningful contributions to their communities after serving their sentences. As the House sponsor for this transformative legislation, I wholeheartedly believe that every individual deserves an opportunity to reshape and retell their narrative. Today signifies the commencement of a mission to dismantle the barriers of the past, liberating individuals from the clutches of a history that should not dictate their future. Because for most people, the day that they committed a crime was the worst day of their life. With the introduction of this bill, we collectively turn the page for Floridians, ushering in a new era where past misdemeanors no longer cast shadows on the path to progress and prosperity. This is merely a call for reform. It's a symbol of hope, kindling the flame of redemption and unlocking doors to a future filled with promise. We envision a Florida where past mistakes are not always burdens, but rather can be used as stepping stones towards success. This bill will not just open doors to new opportunities, it will also bolster the economic stabilization of our communities. This bill goes beyond just being mere ink on a paper. It is a pledge to every Floridian that their contribution to our state is not confined to a mistake. Let me say that again. It is a pledge to every Floridian that their contribution to our state is not confined to a mistake. Instead, it commences anew their commitment to change, growth, and resilience. In conclusion, as we embark on this legislative journey, let's remember that today isn't solely about bills and statutes. It's a celebration of justice, fairness, and an unwavering belief that every individual harbors the potential for positive change. Together, let's champion a distinctive chapter for Florida where the shadows of the past dissolve in the light of hope, and the potential for progress knows no bounds. This is what democracy looks like.
When a survivor speak, let me tell you one more time. This is the rotunda. We are between the Senate and we are between the House. So they need to hear our voices. When a survivor speaks, now let me introduce you another person that is not just a survivor, is also a national leader who's listening the pain in every state and opening the doors to elevate the voices for survivors. And also is president of Alliance for Safety and Justice and a national director for Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. Help me to welcome Aswa Thomas.
When survivors speak, when survivors speak, and I know many of you are here today because change is happening here in the Capitol and across the state and across the country. Now I want to do something that is a tradition at Survivors Speak Florida. And I want to welcome a few survivors to join me in this process. Let's take a few seconds to have a moment of silence for ourselves and our loved ones who are no longer here today. And as you stand here in silence, feel free to call out the names of your loved ones who you want to bring into this space. Now join us as we light this candle.
My name is Lisa Prince Mobley. I light this candle for survivors of gun violence.
And I light this candle for sexual abuse survivors.
My name is Isabel Gutierrez, and I light this candle for all survivors of domestic violence.
My name is Angela Williams, and I light this candle for all parents who lost a child to violence.
Yes. Yes. As we stand here with our candles lighted, we are here because you all deserve dignity. We know that the justice system haven't provided you with dignity. You are here because you deserve healing and trauma recovery. We know the justice system did not provide you with healing and trauma recovery. You are here because you deserve safety. We know that our public safety systems haven't helped us to be safe. You're also here because you also deserve economic mobility. We know that too many people face victimization debt, and those coming out of the justice system who have a record face significant barriers to accessing housing, education, jobs, things that keep communities safe. So that's why we are here in Tallahassee to organize. For most survivors, safety has never been about being tough on crime. Safety has never been about locking people up for as long as we can. Safety is really about ensuring that survivors get access to victim compensation, victim services, and trauma recovery. Safety has always been about investing in the organizations who are on the front lines to violence. As crime victims and survivors, there are two things that we want. We want what happened to us to never happen again. We want what happened to us to never happen to anybody else. So that's why we are here, to make our voices heard in the Capitol. That's the power we have in this room to make safety a reality for all. And we cannot achieve true safety without listening to survivors, listening to our voices, our stories, and our experiences, and our expertise on what keeps communities safer and what a better public safety system is. We cannot do that without bringing together survivors, community-based organizations, government officials, and legislators to set forth a new vision of safety here in the state of Florida. We want to thank our legislative champions who are here today, Senator Jones, Representative Davis. We also want to thank our champions, Representative Garrison, Senator Simon, Representative Roach, Speaker Rayner, Representative Truenow, for being champions for safety and justice. And also Representative Hart as well. When survivors speak, change happens. When survivors speak, change happens. What do we want? Healing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Healing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Healing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Healing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Healing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Healing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. We will not stop coming to this Capitol until we have healing, until we have trauma recovery centers, until we have services and the resources to help our communities heal and recover and prevent violence from happening. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. We want peace. We want safety. We want healing. These are the basic rights that all of us deserve and that we need.